Why didn't they want Paige Spiranac to succeed as a tour pro? What was wrong with these people? Well, when she made the transition to professional golf, it was like she was living in a fairy tale. Paige was incredibly talented and made people turn heads with her amazing performances and stunning looks. The tour life was tough, but she was loving every moment, living her passion. And just as she was climbing to the golf elites, dark clouds gathered overhead and changed everything. Suddenly, Paige received intense criticism, but it was something totally out of her hands. Her golf game was flawless, and she was definitely a rising star destined for greatness. So, why all the scrutiny that had nothing to do with her skills on the course? It seemed like some people just didn't want her to succeed and were waiting for her to fall apart. In a sport known for its old traditions and strict standards, Paige's social media presence and unique look quickly became targets for unfair criticism and non-stop scrutiny. The game she loved seemed to turn its back on her. The conservative golf community, stuck in its old-fashioned values, wasn't ready for someone as bold and modern as Paige. Her lively social media presence and distinctive style shook things up. But rather than welcoming her fresh energy, many judged her harshly. Instead of recognizing her as someone who could bring in a new wave of fans, the golf world held tight to its outdated ways, critically watching Paige's every step. Some critics dismissed her as just another pretty face seeking attention and accused her of damaging the sport's traditional image with her provocative golf outfits. But was this perception fair? Well, Paige Spiranac faced this scrutiny head-on. As a collegiate golfer at San Diego State, I started sharing videos and images of golf. I wear unconventional golf clothes because I always feel comfortable and want to show a different side of the game. I grew up playing at municipal courses where the dress code wasn't as strict, she once explained. Later, she acknowledged that her clothing choices might have affected her career trajectory, but surrender was not part of her vocabulary. What would you do if faced with similar criticism? Would you conform or stay true to your personal style and comfort? Paige was resolute in maintaining her unique style, determined to challenge the status quo and redefine what it means to be a golfer. But was the price too high? In 2017, the LPGA implemented a stricter dress code, banning shirts with plunging necklines, leggings, and short skirts. Paige emerged as one of the most vocal critics of these new restrictions. In a fiery opinion piece for Fortune, she argued that the progression of women's golf is sinking beyond our necklines. Her outspoken criticism ignited a firestorm of responses, with critics eager to question her legitimacy in the professional golf world. Was it her skill or her appearance that truly set her apart on the greens? This controversy raised important questions. How much should tradition influence modern sports? Should athletes sacrifice their personal expression for the sake of conformity? Sadly, Paige's journey took a harsh turn when influential figures, including ESPN's Sarah Spain, insinuated that her appearance on the cover of Golf Digest was more about her attire than her accomplishments. This narrative overshadowed her talent and contributions to the sport. The criticism quickly escalated, with accusations that she was sexualizing women's golf and selling her body. These attacks really hit hard, and sometimes even went beyond the boundaries of personal matters. Paige faced not only harsh words, but also a relentless barrage of death threats, insults, and unimaginable hostility. During an emotional interview with Sports Illustrated, Paige was visibly overwhelmed by the weight of her experiences. Tears streamed down her face as she shared the challenges that had overshadowed her passion for the game. It was a heartbreaking moment that showcased the incredible pressures and unforgiving realities of living in the limelight, completely defying the conventions of an entire sport. The night before the tournament, Paige found herself sitting in the bathroom, crying uncontrollably. She was overwhelmed with thoughts of not wanting to endure the pain and helplessness any longer. Alone and scared, she didn't want anyone else to experience the same fear and defenselessness that she felt at that moment. The harassment she was enduring had made her feel so vulnerable that she reached a point where she didn't want to live anymore. Her mind was clearly not in the right place, and everything unraveled during a heartbreaking press conference after the LPGA qualification event. Visibly devastated, Paige faced the cameras with raw and courageous honesty. She was crying her eyes out as she exposed the grim reality behind her rise to fame: intense cyberbullying and deep depression triggered by relentless online harassment. She described the cruelty she endured. They made fun of the outfits she wore on the course, death threats, and even attacks directed at her family's values. The emotional toll was immense, and as Paige broke down, the world saw the devastating effect of such hostility on a young athlete's life. And just like that, What should have been the start of a glorious dream quickly transformed into an overwhelming nightmare. Paige possessed all the qualities necessary for success. Her natural talent was undeniable. Yet something within her held her back, a relentless whisper she couldn't silence, stifling her ability to fully realize her potential on the golf course. This disconnect between her capability and her actual performance was driving her to the brink. Overwhelmed by pressure and suffering, Paige made the courageous decision to walk away from the dream that had become a source of torment. What do you think it takes to make such a difficult choice? And how do you know when it's time to let go of a dream? Well, Paige needed to reclaim her social life, find joy, and stop punishing herself for not seeing the fruits of her relentless efforts. She resigned herself to her great passion, having given everything to reach it. So, that was it. She walked away from professional golf and never returned. And if the traditional golf world wasn't ready to accept her, she would create her own platform and build her own empire where she could excel on her own terms. And what better place to reinvent herself than on social media? Paige Spiranac took everything she had been criticized for, her fascinating appearance, unique style, and sharp wit, and turned it into her personal brand. Can you imagine the impact? Today, at 31 years old, Paige epitomizes modern success in the TikTok era. With an incredible following of over 11 million across her social media channels, including 4 million on Instagram alone, she has built an audience that surpasses even legendary golfers like Tiger Woods. Isn't that incredible? Her journey shows the power of embracing who you are and using it to connect with millions. Her looks have garnered this large following, and sometimes she gets asked the bold questions others shy away from. During her Playing Around podcast, Paige Spiranac shared an interesting fact with her followers about how her female figure affects her golfing career. When asked whether her breasts help or hinder her golf swing, she explained, "At times it does keep me connected, but for the most part, it definitely hinders my golf swing," she answered. "If I stand the normal distance away from the golf ball, my left arm hits my left boob and it gets stuck. So I end up having to bump my arms out, and that's why it looks a little bit funky." Well, we all have our own unique swing, don't we? In 2018, Paige Spiranac's journey took an unexpected and exciting turn when she appeared in the iconic Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, a dream for many models and athletes. Fast forward to 2022, and she was named the sexiest woman alive by Maxim magazine. Can you imagine the young golfer, once mocked and ruthlessly criticized, transforming into an icon of beauty and sensuality in the golf world? Even though she's no longer playing professionally, her impact remains undeniable. So who says Paige doesn't belong in the world of golf? She has forged her own unique path, breaking away from the norm and creating a new kind of sports star. Paige confidently showcases her sensuality, while also demonstrating her golfing skills. With her sharp wit and engaging personality, she has attracted millions of followers. She's not just part of the game, she's changing it. And of course, this change hasn't been without its challenges. Just picture the scene from a few years ago. Lydia Ko, the top-ranked golfer at the time, was fresh and at the peak of her game. She had earned over $1 million that season, breaking records and captivating fans with her exceptional talent. It seemed like a no-brainer for the iconic Golf Digest magazine to feature her on its cover, right? Well, that's not what happened. The publication chose to feature Spiranac, the social media sensation, instead of the reigning star of professional golf. Can you imagine the uproar this caused? Critics quickly voiced their opinions. Julie Inkster, a member of the LPGA Hall of Fame, strongly criticized the decision not to feature the #1 player on the cover. The attacks weren't just directed at the magazine, but also at Spiranac herself. However, amidst the storm of criticism, two individuals remained calm and confident: Paige Spiranac and Lydia Ko. Not only did they publicly congratulate each other, but they also showed that both stars could coexist at the top, each in their own way.